Thank you for listening to another episode of Simply Finance with Shane White. Today, I'm honored to have Adam Schenk on the podcast, PGA Tour golfer and a good long-term friend of mine. We met back at Purdue when we were both in college. So, Adam, thanks for joining the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, Shane. Happy to be here.
Do you mind giving everyone a little background, a little lowdown of who you are?
Absolutely. From Southern Indiana, went to South Knox High School, real small town, rural community. I had like 80 kids in my high school senior class. Maybe we had like close to 90, but by the time we finished, we had 75 or 80. So not a lot. Went to Purdue, was in Cranert, met you. You helped me, tutor me through all of it, if I remember right.
I don't think that's true.
You helped me through a lot of it, I remember. But I did play golf at Purdue, and then took 4.5 years to graduate. So I graduated in December of 2014. And then I went down and turned professional at golf, and I played in Latin America for that year. I went down to Buenos Aires, Argentina, and did a Q school for the Latin America tour and qualified for that. And from there, I graduated to what's now called the Korn Ferry Tour, which is the step below the PGA Tour, and played there for 2 years. And then I've been on the PGA Tour. I don't remember the exact year, but this is my third year on the PGA Tour. So we are in the playoffs now. And if I don't play good this week, then very good this week, then my season will end. And I will conclude my 2019-20 season, and then the next wraparound season, the 2021 season, will start in like 3 or 4 weeks in Napa, California.
Oh, wow. So it's already like, because the season got pinched because of COVID, it's already going to start right back up again?
It didn't get pinched as much. They eliminated probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 tournaments, and they made up some of them and then canceled others. But with the wraparound season, they like having it start in the fall. They want our playoffs to end. That way they're not competing with football.
Oh, that makes sense. Got it. Cool background, man. I mean, it was funny. Like, I remember, I'll never forget, we don't have to go deep into this, but do you remember the class we took together? It was like some computer-based class. I'll never forget, like, we sat at the student athlete center trying to figure out this damn homework assignment we had. And then we ended up going to
CS235.
That's it. God, you remember it. Nice. Yeah. CS235. I remember then like coming to my apartment, and we just were so confused. It was like the most confusing, dumb class I ever took.
We had a guy that helped us. He tutored some of the athletes, and his name was Bing Bong. And he's the one that helped us. Somebody came in and pranked him that his car was like stolen or got in a wreck. And he was freaking out the whole time for like 10 minutes. And somebody finally told him it was a joke. And I just remember, I remember us being in the computer lab. He was helping us figure it out. And he's like, now watch this, what you're doing. That way I don't have to help both of you. You can figure it out between the two of you. And we're just like, I don't know how he did it.
Right.
You're like, I don't know how he did it.
Oh my God, I remember that. And it really, in hindsight, shouldn't have been that complicated, but it ended up being complicated. That's so funny. But yeah, man. So I thought it was cool. You know, it was funny. I felt like at the end of college, as people who've been through that know, it's like kind of a crazy time. I know, like for me, it was like trying to get your shit together. You're like moving out. You're, either going to do something outside of school. I know for me, it was like I think I had like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I started working at Cummins in Southern Indiana. So I had like no time between the two. And we hadn't talked in a long time, but for you, so what was it like? I never got to ask you this in person, but you went back to finish school in the fall, and then did you know at the end of that, like you were going to try to go for the tour right away? We had never really, it's funny, I thought about it today. We hadn't really like talked about what your plan was, if we were going for it, if you're going to try to find a job, what you were going to do.
So I worked pretty hard that semester. My class schedule was unbelievable. I had class on Tuesday and Thursday, and I only had one class that I had to go to in the afternoon. And
nice.
Several weeks in a row, I probably didn't even make it to class. Like I wouldn't go to class for 2 weeks at a time or something, because you really didn't have to, and that was a slippery slope. But like, I worked really hard on my golf game that semester, and I feel like I improved a lot. And then later on the semester, I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. I'll play for however long I can. Make it for on the amount of money that I had saved up and the amount that my parents were going to help me out with starting off, a little bit of a sponsorship from some people in Evansville, Indiana. And let's just see how it goes. And I talked to a buddy and I was like, hey, you're going to try this Latin America Q school. It's in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've never been out of the
So
country before.
cool.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I remember signing up like at midnight one night after we'd probably been out drinking a little bit, and signed up and graduated in December, and then went down and stayed with some family friends in Port Charlotte, and then went to Buenos Aires in like early February and qualified. And then the tour started like a month later. We went
That's
to,
crazy.
I think, 17 or 18 different countries,
Oh
and like
wow.
played like 19 tournaments down there.
Oh wow. No. Okay.
Like
Interesting.
lots of
How
them.
did?
Ecuador, Argentina, Colombia, obviously Mexico. We were in um, Nicaragua. Oh my gosh, so many.
Oh, that's wild. I'm sure that was a wild just time of your life, just traveling around Latin America playing golf.
Yes, it was definitely Uruguay. Lots of experiences, lots of anything you were looking for, you could find it.
I'm sure. I've been to Brazil. I haven't been around
Brazil,
much.
we were in
Yeah.
Brazil. Have to have a visa.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
God,
Exactly.
it's a
Yeah.
pain in the ass.
Yeah. It was. I do remember that when I went down there. Yeah, I had to go to Chicago to get a visa. That was a pain. So
Yeah.
you, how did you like? How do you even go through that process? Was that something that like they came and found you when you were playing at Purdue, or is it something you had to like reach out? You're like, hey, I'm graduating from Purdue. I want to try to sign up for the Latin America. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be a professional. You can probably do it as an amateur. Um, but you just, I guess, have to have, I don't know if you have to have a certain handicap or not. I mean, you literally just sign up, pay your $1,200, and you just have to, arrange your own travel.
Oh,
And
okay.
you go there, and I remember we stayed at the Hurlingham Club, and it was a pretty dangerous area. There was actually, I think the tournament started on like a Thursday and ended on a Sunday. There was there was like a shooting outside the
Oh,
Hurlingham
jeez.
gates. We were safe where we were, but like less than a half mile away, like quarter mile away, there was like a shooting, and someone died like the second night we were there, and we're like, holy shit, we're never, we were outside the gates at
Yeah,
dinner. They're like, don't be out past dark, but we went outside the gates, about, I guess, the first 2 or 3 days, and then we heard about that, and then after that we didn't leave the place. But it was definitely very eye opening, and I'd be away for 3 or 4 weeks sometimes at tournaments, and I'm just never so happy to come back
oh, I bet.
into the U.S. I mean, just the simple things we take for granted. I'd just be driving on a road, or I'd go back to Purdue because my sister lived in Indianapolis at the time, and she was going to dentistry school at IU,
Oh,
and
okay.
I would just be so happy to be back. And not that it's that bad over there or anything, and there's some rough spots, but just things we take for granted over here, and just really happy to be back, honestly.
Oh yeah, I bet. I mean, because how long
But
were
I
you
have so
down
many
there?
experiences too.
Yeah, right.
So we started in middle of February or end of February, and then we played until maybe the 1st of June. And then we
Okay.
took June, July, and most of August off, and the tour started back up after that. And they played right up until probably the end of November. So it's
Oh
kind of
wow. So it was like two-part
basically like
season.
exactly like school almost. You got like a summer break.
Oh yeah.
So it was really similar to that, actually.
Got it. Okay. And so yeah, for you, I mean, I remember I don't know how your position was, but like for me, I was pretty broke when I left Purdue. I remember that. Did you yeah, so you were like trying to like scrounge up money and just like get down there, and this was kind of just like you just kind of jumped for it, it sounds like, kind of just dove in.
Pretty much. I played some mini tour stuff in Florida, and was lucky enough to play well early, and made, I don't know, 5 or 10,000 bucks. So I had enough money to go down there, and then played okay on the tour. And if you can play that tour an entire year and just break even, that's amazing. A
Oh,
free golf experience that you get, and that's basically what I did. I don't know how
okay.
much money I made, maybe
Yeah.
35 or 40,000 in earnings that year, and then that's about what I spent on travel.
Oh yeah.
About 1,500 a week between a caddy, and then, oh my gosh, you have, trying to figure out with your caddy, because they don't speak any English down there.
Oh
And
yeah.
and my Spanish is okay now. I can about say anything, not
Okay.
correctly, but they'll know what I'm saying. They'll be like, "Oh, stupid American, you're trying to say this." I'll be like, "Yes, exactly. Yeah,
That's
that's what
it.
I want." So,
Oh,
but
that's
then you go
funny.
to places like um, Brazil, and where else was it? Argentina, where it's still Spanish, but it's
Portuguese.
different. It's mixed with some Portuguese, and they put
Yeah.
like pollo is chicken, but down there the L's are pocho. So everything that you thought you knew, now you don't know, because you know the easy words, but a lot of the
Sure.
words that you thought you knew, now you don't know those, and you just get really confused. And it's just, I felt like I knew enough to get really lost because I would talk with the people and then
Yeah.
just end up just lost.
Oh, that's
So that was
too
always a good
funny,
way to
man.
explain it.
Was that difficult to like try to focus and work on your golf game if you didn't like I just feel like that'd be so interesting going to tournaments and like people don't speak English.
It was definitely a challenge. I mean, trying to learn a new course with the caddy, and sometimes the caddies did like they weren't actual caddies; they were just basically pedestrians that were there to earn $50 a day, which is I mean, down there that's sometimes it's like a month's work. So you've got all these people like fighting to be your caddy. So you show up and there's like
Oh wow.
50 people just like kind of yelling at you and demanding to be your caddy, and you're just like hold on, hold on, hold on. But I mean, it's kind of dog eat dog down there because they're all fighting for these jobs, or they're all working a job where you get paid like, I don't know, maybe $20 a week or thirty
Yeah.
bucks a week or something like that. And
Oh,
if
it's
you
so
play good, you make like you pay them like 300 or 400 or $500 a week if you play really good. So that's it's a big opportunity for
for
them.
them. Yeah, I mean, do they so yeah, because like when you go down there on that tour, they're not like they don't give you a caddy. They don't so even like when you went to country, you had to pay for all the travel for that too.
Hmm.
Oh wow.
We flew on, gosh, so many little airports and planes and nothing operates on time down there. Nothing. And so many times, I mean, there was more than once, probably a handful of times where you'd check in and they didn't care how much your bags weighed and everything. They didn't check my ID.
No way.
You just told them your name, and I'm just like, you need to check my ID, and he's like, no, you're fine. And then I would
What?
we'd wait on my buddy, and they wouldn't check the person behind me's ID. I'm just like,
You're like, who's on this
what
plane?
is going on here? And then I'm like, the flight was only $80, but okay, maybe I should have spent more and flown Emirates or United or something.
Something a little more respectable. But hey, man,
Oh my
you're
gosh,
hustling, trying to get around.
yeah. I'm like, my buddy
$80.
Stephen
That's like
Ime is
your
like,
bag on a United flight in the US would be more than that just to
yeah.
fly your
He's like,
golf
hey,
clubs.
book this land or whatever company was called. He's like, it's only $80. He's like, there's 4 seats up, booking now. It's
What a
always
wild
interesting.
experience. I had no idea. When I saw you were down there playing on that, I think I chatted with you a little bit. Like I had no idea that was so out there. That's wild, man. So then I mean, yeah, you play there,
It was fun.
you do well, right? Because you end up getting on the web.com tour, which is like is that the next level kind of? Like I don't know how that
Yes.
necessarily works. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So then you got
Like the
on that.
AAA. Yeah,
Okay,
basically.
got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then because did you have to get like into a did you have to finish at a certain rank or money list on the other one before you qualify or something?
Exactly. So like for the web, you have to go through like first stage, second stage, and final stage of Q school. So I finished well enough. If you finish well enough, you don't have to go to any of the stages. You just get to go straight to the web tour. I did not
Okay.
do that. I finished well enough where I got to skip one stage. So I had to go to second stage of Q school. And then I had to go to final stage of Q school. So these were right around the end of November. And then the 1st of December was the final stage of Q school. And then I made it through by 2 shots at a place called PGA National in West Palm Beach, Florida. We played there in college a couple of times. So that was really helpful.
Oh wow! And can you, for people that don't really know a ton about golf, can you explain what Q school is? That term gets thrown around a lot with golfers.
Absolutely. So like Q school is basically the golf school of how you get on a tour, the web.com tour per se. So you sign up. If you have no status or haven't played professional golf, you have to go to pre-qualifying. So it's like $2,000. So you make it through pre-qualifying. They basically take anybody to sign up. And then as if you make it through, they take like 80% of the people. So then there's like 9 or 10 or maybe 12 first stages. So there's, say there's 5,000 people that sign up for Q school where they distribute those, 5,000 people to 12 different first stages. And then they take the amount of people that make it maybe 25%, 30%. And then they take those people that make it and then they go to second stage and they do the same thing. So now there's, 1,500, 1,800 people. And then they divide those up between the second stages. Maybe there's 6 second stages, seven second stages. And then they take 30% of those and they take those 30% and they plop everybody down in final stage. And then you play for your life basically. Because if you don't make it,
Yeah.
then you have to wait a whole another year to try again. So
Oh
there's only
wow.
one chance.
So how many? So sorry. How many people started? How like the funnel? Like how many start at the top to how many make it
I
through?
don't even know. I want to say maybe it's 4,000, 5,000, maybe not quite that many. That might be a little high, but it's a lot. And then, so let's say there's 160 people at final stage, maybe 140, 150, somewhere in there. They take the top 45, I believe it is. Top
Ooh.
45 get full status.
Wow.
So it's
That's
pretty
crazy.
brutal. It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
brutal.
super brutal. And I mean, congratulations. That's quite the
Thank you.
accomplishment, my friend.
I was really fortunate. I had a couple breaks coming in that could have went either way. Unfortunately, they went my way and made it through.
That's so cool. That's badass. Because then, so okay, so is this when you are like, this is happening while you're on the web tour?
So this was to qualify for the web. This was a qualify
Okay, got
for
it.
the web. So this was
Got it.
after my first full year of Latin. So I went down to Latin, like I said, played from February to um, November with that break in the middle in the summer.
Got
And
it.
then Q school's right after that because it's set up that way. That way the tour ends and then Q school begins. So if you like
Okay,
make it that way, you can still do all the stages. So I made it through first stage exempt because of my results on the Latin tour. So
got
then
it.
I went to second stage at the end of November. So like if you did really poorly and didn't have any and weren't going to get through exempt through any of the stages based on your Latin tour, you would have to take a tournament off some point during the end of the Latin schedule and go to first stage at the beginning of November because most of those were at
Ah,
the beginning of November, and that the tour ended at the towards the end of November, and I played all the way through, and then I had to go to second stage that last week of November, I believe it was, once the tour ended, and then final stage was 2 weeks later, I think it was,
okay, got
and
it. Oh
then
wow, that's
that
wild,
tour
man.
started. That tour started up in Panama, I believe, the second week of January.
Wow, okay. And then so you made it through that, get on the web.com tour. So now you're like close. At this point,
Mm-hmm.
are you, this is where I was curious for this podcast too. At that point, you're like on this AAA level. Um, are you at this point like, can you like smell getting to the PGA Tour? Like, are you kind of like, I can do this, I'm close? Or at that point, does it still feel like it was really far away?
It definitely felt like it was further away than not. I mean, because this was a different level of competition that I hadn't played before. A lot of the guys had been on the PGA Tour or played this tour for a long time, so they knew the courses. I felt like they were better than me, and I was like, okay, I did the Latin tour. A lot of guys do that, but a lot of guys, don't really take it seriously. They're down there to have fun and party, and
Okay.
kind of just like delaying getting a job almost.
Right.
And
Right.
made it through that, and got through Q school, and just very eye open. Played really well my first tournament. Made a couple mistakes in Panama, missed the cut by I think two. So I'm like, shit. In Latin America, I would have made the cut by two or three. And now I missed the cut here by two. So I'm gonna have to get smarter, get sharper. Just be better all the way around, and I better figure it out fast.
Yeah.
Because the weird thing is, so like if you finish in the top 45 like I did, you're guaranteed I think 8 starts. If you play bad in those 8 starts, then you reshuffle out of the mix. So then you basically kind of go back to, you still have status on the tour, but you kind of go back to not getting in tournaments. So there's a lot of pressure on you those
Oh,
first 8 tournaments. So
got
it's
it.
it's it's a whole ball of wax to like try and I still don't understand how all the rankings work and like the reshuffles. So like it's like this big complex process that no one really understands. You just like
I
call the
had
lady at the
no
tour.
idea. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was trying to look it up and I was like, this is so confusing. Because
And they change the rules every year and all this stuff. And the
okay.
names of tours.
So it seems, yeah,
It's this
because
whole
it
thing.
seems like they make it really, really hard to get on the tour. And then, I mean, like, so I know you were on the web.com tour for 2016 and then 2017, and then you won your first tournament in 2017, right? You actually won one
Yeah.
of the tournaments. What was that I
Hmm.
wrote down? Lincoln Land Charity Championship in a playoff,
Yep.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Nice. How was that? Could you walk us through that a little bit? That's exciting, especially
That
your
was
first win, man. I mean, a 4-man playoff. That's huge.
that was sick. Yeah. I played Sunday. We were in the final group. Super windy day. Played with, gosh, Kyle Thompson and another guy. I can't think of his name. He was actually in the Air Force. He turned professional and super, super nice guy, super great golfer. But anyway, um, looks like I'm gonna have a good chance to win. I come down to the last hole, hit it in the fairway. I think I just need to make par to win. And I hit it in the fairway, so I've got like 9 iron in. I think a pretty good chance I'm gonna win the golf tournament. And I hit this worst shot I've hit all month, and I've been playing all month, so it's pretty bad. It goes in the grandstands left. Maybe it was an eight
Oh
iron.
shit.
It kind of goes up against like some netting, and I take a drop. I chip it to 8 feet, and I'm like, I see the leaderboard, and I see there's 3 other guys at I don't know whatever it was, 15 under. So I'm like, all right, well if I miss this putt, basically there's a 1 in 4 chance I'm going to win because we're all pretty much equal. It's one playoff hole. It's just flipping quarters at that point.
Okay.
So I'm like, probably should make this putt because you kind of had the golf tournament won. Probably should just make this putt. And
Yeah.
sure enough, I miss it. So I'm just in the scoring tent. I'm just like, wow, you just had a really good opportunity to change your life and get on the PGA Tour, and you just blew it. Way to go! Hope you're proud of yourself. Good job. And then, sure enough, first playoff hole, I had a putt from like past the pin in the back of the green and just barely burned the edge. And then we all made par. And then I basically had the same putt again on the second playoff hole, and everybody missed, and I made it.
Damn, dude.
So that was
You
it.
redeemed yourself.
Redemption.
What was that
Huge.
like? What was that like when you won? That's got to be wild, just knowing you and, how much golf you've played. That's got to be a crazy
Yeah.
moment.
I couldn't believe it. Just hugged my caddy, hugged my girlfriend, now wife at the time. My family was actually all in attendance.
Oh,
They
that's cool.
they came in on Saturday. That was near the lead, or maybe they were planning to come if I made the cut anyway, and I just happened to play well. Yeah, caddy took the top off the pin and took the flagstick, which is the caddy tradition. So if you win, the caddy gets the pin,
Oh, okay.
and
Didn't know
did the
that.
whole trophy ceremony, and they gave me this note card to all right, say these 4 sentences, and I'm just like, had, I don't know, 4 or 5 beers already at this point. I'm just trying to remember this, and then that was probably the hardest part.
Just trying to
I still
remember
have
to
the note
say.
card actually. It's
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah, thank you,
cool.
all this stuff, the tournament directors and everything. But they do a really good job with
They
their
like
tournament.
make you say something when you
They
win?
don't. They're just like, all right, these people were, donated a lot of money. They spent a lot of
Got it.
time, all the volunteers, the tournament director, if you could really thank them. I'm just like,
Oh boy.
setting
Here we
my
go.
Bud Light down, and I'm just like, okay, like, let's get it together and say these, 4 or 5 sentences, make yourself sound like a decent human. You went to Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, hold up the name.
Come on now. Yeah. Right. That's too cool, man. And then from there, did that unlock the PGA Tour for you, or was there more after that?
Basically, so they take the top 25 in earnings from that season, they play like 20, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 events. So the top 25 from the season get to go to the PGA. So that basically put me at like maybe $150,000 in earnings.
Okay.
So for that season, so basically it's usually around 140 to 142, somewhere in there, 45. So basically, and there were still 8 events left. So I wasn't locked in a sense, like statistically,
Yeah.
but more than likely, like 90% chance I was going to make it. And the next week I finished like 5th. So that was when I actually statistically locked up my card. Was
so
the next
cool.
week in Nashville.
Okay. And then they say a card, you get a player's card. Do you have like a physical card you get?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
Here, I'll show it to you. It's nothing. It's literally like a credit card.
But I mean,
and mine's so scratched up you can't even tell it's me, which is actually, I guess anybody could really use it. Yeah, it's just
that is so cool. There it is, man. Member. Love
member
it.
and inside ropes, whatever. And then I have all these letters like CLPM, DH, and they all mean something, like parking. You can go in the clubhouse, practice areas, all this stuff. Because that's just when security's there checking, they just look for like, all right, you have to have like a P and an H to get in this area or something.
Sure.
And all this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's too cool, man. Yeah, I guess I've been to a couple. I've been to what did I go to? PGA Championship when it was in Valhalla a couple years ago.
I was at that one. I think we talked about that back. Yeah, that's the only PGA I've been to. I've only been to like, not before I played. I think I'd only been to 2 PGA Tour events ever.
Oh,
that was funny. My second one.
Oh, that's fun. That's funny. We're both there too.
Did you go on? When did you go? Sunday?
I think we were on Sunday.
It rained so much.
Yeah, it rained a ton. I went there with I don't know if you remember Peyton, who was my roommate and played golf too. We went and watched it. That's funny. I didn't know you were there. That'd been funny to meet up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. That's so cool. I was to say, you definitely can see when you're there, like how much is going on behind the scenes of what you see on TV too, because there's just so much.
Were we still in college then, or when was that?
That was right after college, I think.
Maybe I was still in college, I think. And
maybe it was that
you probably graduated on time like a good student.
Luckily, very close. I remember the last semester at Purdue, I had to take like 18 credit hours just to like get out on time. So I by the skin of my teeth.
What was that math class we took that was insanely impossible for us?
Wasn't it like Calculus 2?
I think it was Calc 2.
There was a Calc 2 class that I had to take twice for sure.
I got lucky and only had to take it once, but I remember on one of the last tests before the final, or maybe it was the final, like maybe I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a retake test, but I remember there was 10 questions and I knew like 2 of them, and I guessed in the last 4, and there was like 4 or 5 choices, and I'm like, if I don't guess half of these right, I think I'm going to have to drop the class and then try again next semester
I
because I
remember
just
this.
my grade's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And I guess like 3 of them are right, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are so lucky. And that's how I passed the class.
I remember this actually. I do remember that because I think I had to retake it and you didn't have to. Because I remember
Just because I guessed correctly. I had no idea.
if that teacher shows you anything though about college, it's like, ah, fuck. I mean, you could have just guessed and you guess you make it out. You and that's life, I guess. Shit. Yeah.
Something like that.
We took some tough classes together. I forgot we had a few that we were struggling through. They were not nice to us by any
It
stretch of
was
the
in that
imagination.
building that was by the engineering buildings. It was on the corner
Yes.
there. It's down in the basement. I forget
Yes.
what building that's called.
That was Calc 2 for sure. I remember because I remember just walking out of that frustrated for a whole semester straight every time I went in there. Walk out more confused than when I walked in.
Yeah,
And I was
never
confused
ending.
walking in. Exactly. So funny. So then let's get back to this. So then you won that, and then you get on the PGA Tour, man. So then 2018 on, you've been on. What's that been like? Like I think because I was like trying to put some questions together because it's funny trying to put questions together for you. I was like, it's gotta be so crazy. Like I don't know. Like when you are gonna be on the PGA Tour, what was that moment like? It's got to be like a lifetime of golf just coming into one moment.
It exactly was, and it's hard to explain. And I don't think I give myself. I'm pretty hard on myself a lot of times, especially out here. Like I'll finish 30th, and oh, how'd you play last week? I'm like, oh, I played bad. It's because it's easy to beat yourself up out
Sure.
here when you're playing against players that are so good. But
You used to do that in school
it's
too, though. You would say to like, oh, I did
yeah,
really shitty on this test, and you'd get like a B plus or something. And I was like, okay, Adam, all
that
right,
is
yeah.
maybe in CS 235 when they hand out A's like
Like, okay.
candy. And I didn't even get an A in CS 235. I got an A minus
Oh,
by
see, this is
one
what I'm talking
question.
about. I probably got like a B or C or
No, you
something.
got an A because you're smart.
I don't
But
know.
the I I don't think I'll really realize what I've been doing the last 3 or 4 because I'm going to play full season on tour next year as well. Just kind of what I did until after I'm probably done playing on the PGA Tour. Hopefully that's lots of years down the road. But it is so cool. All the fans, you just meet so many people out here in pro-ams. You play with a lot of CEOs, a lot of very high ranking people that a lot of them love golf and love playing golf. So they like talking
Definitely.
about the golf with you, and you can talk about a lot of stuff with them. And a lot of the players out here, everybody's super nice. Everybody, is not. I get the question a lot. Who are the dickheads on tour, or
Yeah.
who would you really not like to play with? And maybe there's a couple guys here and there, but like most of the time, I mean, 99% of everybody is super nice, and just like us, because it's such a long, humbling road to get to the PGA Tour. So it's not like you're just a stud out of college, and so there are those, and those guys are really nice too. But like LeBron James straight to the NBA most of the time.
Right.
Me not being that talented or that good, I had to come up the ranks like an Etwan Moore, something everybody wants to be the
Ooh,
stud,
love that.
and go straight and start making millions. But
Yeah.
I guess I had to kind of do it the Boilermaker way and just grind it out in Latin America
Love it,
for a
man.
while.
It's that hard work. It's that hard work that pays off, man. No, that makes
I
sense.
guess.
That's cool. I mean, because it was funny. Like a couple days ago, I was putting this timeline together. I'm like, shit. He really, yeah. You've had to like really go through the ranks here to get to the PGA Tour. It wasn't like an easy thing. And then I thought it was crazy. I mean, it's cool. We haven't talked about him, but Tyler Duncan, who also went to Purdue. I actually played against him in high school too. And then you guys were buddies, and he's on tour now too. I'm like, that's pretty cool to have
Hmm.
two Boilermakers that are that close in age both be on tour. I'm sure that hasn't happened probably very often, I would think. I don't know the history of Purdue golf, but
I don't I don't know how many people from Purdue have played on the PGA Tour. Um, I don't think it's a ton. I think I lost you for a second.
oh,
There you
you
go.
back? There we go.
But yeah, Tyler won last year too. I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
this year, but last calendar year.
I saw
So he's
that.
just right across the hall. I'm in 115. He's in 112. So we're at home two suites. So I don't
Love
know if
it.
he's done practicing or not yet, but he's just right across the hall. We'll probably go over and maybe play some cards tonight, or have a couple Bud Lights or
Is that what you
whatever he's
do?
got left in his fridge.
Is that
A
your
lot of times,
pre-round beverage is
not
Bud Light?
not pre-round, but maybe it should be.
Yeah.
We got to play better this week. But
No,
with the
it's so cool
wives and
though.
this COVID thing, the wives can't walk the course, so they haven't been traveling as much.
Oh, oh,
So
that's a bummer.
um,
Oh, because
yeah,
normally
so
would they
it's
come with you to the
yeah,
tournaments? Yeah,
yeah.
that makes
So it's
sense.
a little more lonely without them, but we're making do. We tell them we're not having any fun.
Yeah, no fun at all here.
No, it's be way more fun with you, babe.
Yeah, we're only playing
Which is
golf and
true,
hanging out. Yeah,
but
I'm
we get
sure.
by.
Yeah, right. No, that's wild, man. And then so yeah, I mean, how's it been? Have you have you played with? I'm sure you have because you're always in new groupings. Have you played with anyone crazy that you looked up to as a kid that you're now playing next to as a competitor?
Yeah, I've played with Webb. The most notable that I've played with is probably Webb Simpson. So
Oh
I think he's
yeah,
like, I don't know, third or fourth or fifth or sixth in the world. So he's become a good friend, and he's just a really nice guy that's just really damn good at golf. So he plays good. Seems like every time he tees it up. So I'm trying to think who I haven't played with a bunch of big names, but like there's a funny story. I was because I forget, Tiger's playing this week, which is pretty
yeah.
cool. I don't think I've played, maybe a handful of tournaments with when Tiger's in the field, and I've missed been paired with him twice by like one or two groups off. So I think I've teed off,
That's crazy.
and then he teed off the next group, and then one time, in Florida, he teed off, and then I teed off after him. So I was really close to playing with him, but it hasn't
That's
happened yet.
wild.
But I was standing on the putting green this week, and I see his monster bag and it says Tiger Woods. I'm like, oh, I forgot Tiger was even playing. I'm like, where is he? And I look like 8 feet or not 8 feet, like 20 feet to my right, and he's there on the putting green. And I feel like at all times there's like
I mean,
just
what is
five
that? I
or
have to
ten
stop
players,
you. I
five
have
or
to
ten
stop you
players
there.
looking
Like,
at him. And I just
I
stopped
mean,
and watched him for like 3 minutes.
I have to stop you because that's like, okay. I golfed growing up. I'm not as nearly even remotely as good as you were the few times we played together. But if I was sitting on a practice green, I mean, you're on the tour, so you already have that going for you. But like to look over and Tiger Woods is standing there putting, like that has to be like, holy shit, what am I doing? This is nuts.
Absolutely. I just stop and watch him. Like, I don't even care if he like looks at me. I'm just like, go ahead. I just want to
Yeah,
watch you. Like, I
I'm
mean,
just
how many
watching
people can say they've watched Tiger Woods putt,
from
that,
10, 20 feet away.
and who knows how much longer he's gonna, even play. And like,
Sure.
when I have kids one day, it's like, hey, I played, not nearly as good, but I did play with him a couple times.
You
So,
never know,
or not
man.
with him, but like in the same tournament.
In the same
So
tournament that play, you mean you were a competitor, right? You could have beat him
yeah,
or,
I competed against him.
yeah, that's
Competed
right. Did you
against
say
him. Yeah,
anything to him?
I've talked to him a couple times and met him once or twice, and I registered next to him in 2 years ago in San Diego for the Farmers Insurance Open, and
That's
we were
so
just at the
crazy.
registration table for maybe 3 or 4 minutes together. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I
What was
stayed
that?
in there until he left. I'm like, I'm not leaving this table. I'm gonna have small talk with everyone
That's
until he
so
leaves, and then
cool.
I'll leave. I'm not leaving early.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all, man. Was that pretty cool? Was he a nice guy?
Yeah, super nice, super nice, super looks a lot younger with his hat on. When he takes his hat off, he looks older. But yeah, he's super fit, super in shape. His something funny. If you ever see him in shorts, his legs are really, really skinny.
I've seen this.
Really
Yes.
skinny. Yeah.
Does he just not lift legs? He skips leg day, or
I
do we
think
know?
I think he used to run a lot, and I
Okay.
think he maybe still does, but like he would run like an insane amount. I think he just has smaller legs. I'm sure they're really strong, but like the rest of him is. I mean, he's a really in shape, fit guy.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I don't know if it was a couple years ago or whenever, but I think he lost some weight. I mean, he's pretty tall. He's not a very big like Bryson is huge. Like he is
Yeah.
massive, but like Tiger's a little smaller than I think a lot of people would think.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. He used before he broke his knee. I mean, he was like a big. I feel like
Yeah, he
he
was,
at least on TV he looked like this
and I never
jacked.
saw him. I never saw him then, so I've
Yeah.
only seen him the last 2 years
Yeah.
here and there,
Sure.
like not very often.
Sure. Sure. That's so cool, man. That's got to
It
be
never
so
gets old
wild.
though.
I mean, it's got to be crazy.
It's
Like, I
pretty
mean,
cool.
especially for you. I mean, just, getting a chance to play with all these guys. I mean, I saw
Yeah,
tomorrow you're playing with Graham McDowell and Lucas Glover. I was like, I got to look and see
yeah,
who you're paired with. I'm like, shit, those are people I've paid attention to since I was a kid.
yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's so
It's
cool.
fun.
That's so
Lucas
cool.
is so nice, and Graham is really, really nice. So our townhouse in Florida is right by a place called Nona Blue, and he used to. I don't know if he still is. I don't think he is anymore. But he started a restaurant in Lake Nona, which is in Orlando. It's a really exclusive golf course called Nona Blue, a restaurant, and then they opened a Nona Blue in Jacksonville. And he was half owner of that. So
Oh, okay.
I played with Graham once before, and we talked about that forever. He's a super nice guy, and Lucas is one of the nicest guys on tour as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. No, that's awesome. Is it
So I'm looking
what's that
forward to
part
it
like?
tomorrow.
Yeah, I bet, man. What's that like? What's it like during a tournament? Like I remember, this is hilarious to compare this. Like when I played in high school, I mean, I feel like we would talk shit and kind of just like shoot the shit. And it was, it's high school golf, so it's not anything crazy. What's it like on tour? Is it pretty laid back, or some guys and yourself, like, are you just focused? You don't talk a lot. I'm sure it's probably a mixed bag.
In the practice round, it's pretty laid back, and there's a lot of trash talk and always some gambling or something's always going on, and you're shitting your buddy about this and that, and it actually be pretty cool if you could talk that way during the tournament. But I mean,
Yeah.
nobody does. You're pretty just focused on yourself, and you'll play with some friends or some guys that like to talk a lot, and I'm not a guy that doesn't talk a lot, but it just depends on who you're playing with, whether how much you talk or how much you just kind of keep yourself. But most of the time it's just pretty much once you get somewhat near your ball, you're starting to pay attention to the wind, the pin, where you're trying to hit it and everything.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's your job, so I'm sure
Yeah.
there's a lot of, it's very serious. It seems serious on TV, but you always see some people joshing around, and it seems like a fun combo. Are you I was one of the questions I wanted to ask, just from like a career perspective. I mean, you obviously have a story of like working your ass off and making your way to the PGA Tour. You're still a very young person on the tour, obviously, but do you have any suggestions for young golfers out there that might listen to this, that that's their dream someday? What's your like advice for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell them, not that this helps them, but I will say one of the main things is if I can do it, if I did it, anyone can do it. I promise you that, especially with Cranor. If I can graduate from Cranor, trust me, you can
Maybe
too.
that more than
But
anything, the Cranor piece.
oh my gosh, it wasn't that easy. And just, it doesn't matter really where you start, especially in junior golf or amateur golf, college golf. If you're not the best, if you're towards the bottom, if you just keep improving every year, if you have a desire to really enjoy practicing and enjoy getting better, then that'll take you much further than if you are at a pretty elite level now, but you don't have the desire to get better, and you don't really have the desire to play golf and grind and practice. And not that those guys, can't play professional golf and play on the PGA Tour and win a whole bunch, because there are a lot of elite talents that don't really love golf, and they're just really good. There's a lot of times they're just so talented, doesn't matter what they do, they're just going to beat a lot of people and play well and make a lot of money. But just getting better every year, getting better every day, the same cliche stuff. But I mean, if you can play golf for 6 or 7 years and get better every year, and have some instruction and a little bit of talent, hopefully, then you can play and take it however far you want to.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. And
Same
for
with anything basically in life.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That totally makes sense. Do you foresee playing on the PGA Tour? I'm sure the hope is to go, like you said at the beginning, go for hopefully as long as humanly possible. Is there like it's funny, like football, they say like 2 to 3 years is like the average. I know the NBA is longer, but like for golf, is there like a normal time frame? It seems like, some guys been playing forever, and I'm sure there's some guys that come on and come off. And now that I know this whole process a little more, do you know?
I'm not sure. It's very skewed, like you said, because there's so many older guys that are playing forever. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, just a lot of the older guys, Brian Gay, Matt Kuchar, Tiger, Graham McDowell, Lucas Glover. Like, if it was the NBA or NFL, probably they wouldn't be playing. So in golf, they can still continue to whoop everybody's young ass.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, they played for how many years? I don't know, but there are some guys that come in and play for a year and never get back on, or play for 2 years and don't get back on. So that's actually a really interesting question. I think the average age of the tour is around 31 or 32, 30.
Oh, so it
So
is
I'm a little on the young
younger.
side still,
Yeah.
but there's some of the guys, like, they're like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So they, bring it down a little bit, but I don't know what the oldest guy is. It'd be a good, I'll have to find that out. I'll have to ask
Yeah. I'm
someone that knows
curious.
tomorrow, and they'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
have to
curious just
report
because
back.
it's like the only sport I can think of that's really like this, where it's like, I've thought about that recently as I'm putting this like athlete series together and talking to some people. It's like, it's probably the coolest. I mean, I love golf, huge golf fan, grew up loving golf, but it is one of the things, like, I mean, you can play forever. It's like one of the few things too that like professionals and like amateurs, like anyone can both do the same. You can both play the same thing. I was
Yeah.
talking about CrossFit earlier. It's like there's people competing in CrossFit, but like you and I can do any of the same workouts if we want. Same thing with golf. I think it's cool in that regard, because everyone can go out and you can watch golf on Sunday and then go out Sunday night and go play 9 holes. I thought that's always been a cool thing. Do you what's your, like, I guess, like, what's your goal this, and I know that you're like in the playoffs now, so it's really coming down to the line. But as you head into like your next full season, is your kind of the goal for you right now just to kind of get out there and hopefully win a tournament or shoot as low as you can, or do you have like tangible things you're kind of going after these days?
So definitely both. So for this week, I probably need to finish inside the top 15 or top 10 to advance to next week. But some goals for next year, I would say I want to get off to a hot start, and I would love to lock up my card in the fall. So I would say that
Got
is
it.
um, whatever kind of goal you want to call it, but it's just
And how would
that
you
would
do?
be.
Would that be with like winning a tournament, or how would that work in the
I would
fall?
have to get like basically 400 FedEx Cup points.
Okay.
So however many top 20 or top 10 finishes that is, that would be. And if you win, you get a 2-year exemption on tour and 500 points. So
Oh,
that's always, I would love to be a PGA Tour winner. That's something that they can't. It's like a club. It's a
yeah,
fraternity of guys. It's not a super you know big group because I don't know how many people the average how many people play on tour versus the amount of percentage of people that actually win on tour.
sure.
Can't be super great, but that would be a great list to add your name to. And I had a chance a couple 3 weeks ago in Reno, and didn't get the job done, but I can't wait to get back and in the mix of things and just feel all the feels and the rushes and how your body changes and how your swing changes. It's a little different, but um, back to your question, definitely I want to lock up my card, and that'll allow me to play pretty free the rest of the year, a little more free, knowing that you have a job for the next year.
Right.
But just a bigger goal of mine would be consistency, just being consistent, performance in all areas of the game, week in and week out. And if you're not feeling well, or if you kind of burn out a little bit, then take a week off. Don't just go play a tournament to go play. If you're going to play, go play and compete and
Oh,
prepare properly.
is that something
If
that's
you're going to do
common?
it,
Is like taking weeks off if you're just not feeling it, or
yeah. I
tired,
mean,
sick?
just the stress and it being gone from your family a lot of times, being gone from your home for if you're gone for 3 weeks, you're gone for 3 straight weeks. You go to a golf tournament, you're gone for an entire week.
Right.
So if you're gone 3 weeks, it kind of adds up, especially if if you're not traveling with your wife or you got kids and they're not traveling, they're back in school. So
Sure. Yeah.
it's just a lot of like play a tournament. It's a lot of work.
Right.
Um, so I've played more than most people, and why not? I'm feeling good. I'm young, so I don't have any kids that I'm missing out on. My wife's usually traveling with me. Um, but as next year, hopefully, when I play super well in this fall, if I played 3 or 4 weeks in a row or 2 weeks in a row and I've competed and had a chance to win, then it's just a little burnout. Then take a week off and recharge your batteries, and take 4 or 5 days off and then start up again on the
Yeah.
weekend and then go to the next tournament instead of just playing the next tournament to play and not putting
Right.
in maximum effort.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. Love that, man. I think that's fantastic. And then how the other question I wanted to ask you is how does majors work? Is there like something you have to either, I know like a win gets you in, but is there, or is like there's got to be, I'm sure there's
So
some other way.
a win gets you in. There's different qualifications for each one.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the only thing that gets you in the U.S. Open is being top 50 in the world, or playing in a U.S. Open and finishing top 10 in that U.S. Open. That gets you into the next U.S. Open.
Ah, okay.
So basically, most people that play the U.S. Open have to qualify, and then winning gets you into the majors, all the majors, I believe, um, and being high enough in the world rankings or being high enough in the FedEx Cup standings. Those are basically the 3 or 4 ways that get you into the majors. And I have not played a major yet. So
Got it.
that's another goal of mine next year is to play the majors, play one major,
Yeah,
start
right.
somewhere.
Hell yeah, man. That's exciting. How does I know the FedEx Cup points make sense. How does like world ranking, how is that calculated? Or do you know like how that works?
You get points based on how you finish, and then there's a divisor. Like you play 15 tournaments and you have this many points. So you get 200 points divided by your 15 tournaments. You get a per point based average per tournament, and that's how it's
Mm,
basically qualified. And there's like I don't know, 15 tournament minimum.
okay. Got it. Got it. No, that's wild, man. That's so cool. Um, that's so cool, man. I was trying to think of the next thing I want to ask you. We've talked about some really cool stuff today. I think I want to ask you two quick. I know you gotta get going soon. Two quick finance kind of questions were, trying to spin this a little bit around like making it into a career. What has it been like for you as far as, you know, um, not winning, but like making money on the tour by playing in tournaments versus I know there's a whole like, sponsors, endorsement side of things. Has that been a whole nother part of becoming a pro golfer that's new for you? And I'm sure that's a big part of the puzzle of making this into a career.
Definitely. And it's pretty simple. It's, you get on the web and there's basic contracts for like your club deals or Titleists, which is it's a company of Titleists called Acushnet. They do ball shoe gloves. You get paid. There's a lot of base amounts unless you're like a big superstar coming
Okay.
out of college. You just, you get paid this. And then if you go on the PGA Tour, you get, your club deal and your ball shoe glove. And then whatever sponsors that you may meet. A lot of times, like I said, you play in pro-ams or you have a different family in a company that they want to, have their logo on your chest, and they like seeing that when they get on TV and giving the company exposure. But a lot of times it's just guys that, like golf, like being around golf, playing the pro-ams, and they want to see, they've got extra money to spend on advertising, and they just
Right.
want to see their logo on TV, and they want to be around, the PGA Tour guys. So a lot of times that's what'll end up happening. And then we have Tyler and I have the same agent, Mike Chisholm, out of Dallas, Texas, and
Nice.
he kind of handles all that stuff, because that's a whole nother ball of wax, like competing for the money and the deals, and which players get this, the sponsorships, and that's just a whole nother connection base, and he definitely helps with that. But that's a whole nother side of the business, and they take a certain percentage of your contracts, which is well deserved, because without them, I mean, I wouldn't know what anything's worth,
Sure.
or any of
Oh
that
yeah.
stuff. That's very a lot goes into that I think a lot of players, we take for granted a lot of times, I'm sure, because they do work really hard. And then from there, if you play well and you get inside the top 100 in the world rankings, or you really meet somebody and you have a lot of success and they want to, for example, like an Ace Hardware, or Walmart doesn't sponsor anybody, but like a bigger company like that, like an AIG, like a,
Yeah.
Transamerica, they will, do a big corporate deal with somebody, or like sponsor your golf bag. And you'll have a Transamerica golf bag like Zach Johnson did. So
Yeah.
play well, get some notoriety, have some accolades to your name, and that's when you can start getting the bigger deals. And definitely opportunities for advancement financially, just meeting different people. And I have not done that yet, but it's well deserved when you do it.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody does it. It's very hard to do, but once you get to that the little more elite level on tour and have success, then you're definitely get compensated for it. And that's when a lot of guys start making a lot more money off the course than they do on the course.
Right, right. Okay. No, that makes sense. I'm sure, man, I'm sure you're on your way to finding that next, but that's exciting. I'm sure, just from like the research I've done, yeah, it definitely seems like some of the guys on the tour, yeah, to your point, probably make more money off the course than they do on the course, which is kind of crazy. Then I'm sure at
Yeah.
that point, just like golf as a career is it's just a wild world to be in, right? Because you could, depending on if you're showing up for a tournament or not, it's a totally different, I don't know, totally different way of making money. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. It's cool to be able to leverage that too. Like your hobby, your passion turns into a career, right?
Play
Um,
good, you make a lot of money. If you don't play good, you get beat by everybody, and it can be tough at times. But I mean, a lot of self-belief, a lot of believing in what you're doing things the
yeah,
right way usually comes around and works out for you. But there's no guarantees, no contracts out here that you're gonna get paid $3 million for your play this year or something like
yeah,
that. So that's what
right.
makes golf a little different.
For sure. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's kind of a, they let the cream rise to the top, and those, I'm sure those people get the big compensation. That makes sense. Um, Thanks, man. The last couple questions I had, I know you got to get going, got a big workout coming up, so I want to be
Oh yeah.
cognizant of that. Is what does like your pre-round routine look like these days?
So I'll usually start a couple hours before, 40 minutes before. Do some light cardio, just get the blood flowing. I'll do some stretching. Just do some exercises that will get my glutes turned on, get everything firing, get my back warmed up, get the shoulders warmed up, get my hips warmed up. And that usually takes maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And sometimes if I have a 7 a.m. tee time, I spend 5 minutes. I don't really do it, a
Okay.
lot because I'm not going to get up at 4:30. I should get up at 4:30 in the morning and do the same thing every time. I'm a little bit lazy sometimes. Um, and I don't. I'll get up at 7 a.m. tea time. I'll get up at 5:30, 5:15, and I'll still do something, but it'll be light. And
Okay.
then go to the golf course, grab a little breakfast, and then I will putt for usually 15 minutes. And when I start putting, I usually have about an hour to 50 minutes before I tee off. I'll putt for
Okay.
15, and then I'll go chip and hit some bunker shots for maybe another 10 or 15. And then I go and hit balls for 15 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I'll go back to the putting green and hit a few putts. And then I usually have to run to the tee because I'm usually a little bit late.
For some reason, that does not
Honestly.
surprise me, Adam. I feel like you've always been, it's always been you, man.
I know where the edge is at, and sometimes I get a little too close. Haven't fallen off yet, but I peek over the edge from time to time.
That is so funny. How does that work? Like the day of, I mean, are they like, is there someone there? Like, is it your caddy, or do you have anyone else there that's kind of like, hey, Adam, you need to be here this time at this?
Just my caddy. I'm like, hey, all right, we tee off at 8:30. Let's meet at 7:15.
Okay.
He's like, all right, sure.
Got it. And then your caddy, how did you find your caddy? That's another question I didn't ask you. How does that all work?
So there's a couple guys on tour a couple of caddies on tour that know, basically they've been out here forever. They know all the caddies that have jobs or looking for jobs, caddies that have a job but are kind of looking for a new job. So Paul Tesori, who caddies for Webb Simpson, helped me find Mark.
Oh, okay.
And I've only had maybe 3 or 4 caddies in my entire career. I've had Brad Swearingen, who came out and helped me out for a couple of years, and we stopped working together, and Mark started working for me. We're working together for a couple of years now. But yeah, I've been lucky to have a lot of great caddies. Brad was super helpful getting my career started, and he's out here now with another guy, Robbie Shelton from Alabama, who's a stud, and they're doing well. So I'm happy to see Brad do well, and Mark and I are rocking and rolling as well. So he's a really big part of the team and very helpful. He's been out here, I think, 17, 18 years.
Oh,
so
wow.
he's awesome, like a best friend.
Yeah.
We do everything together. Spend I don't know, 35, 40 hours a week together.
Oh, do you really?
More. Oh yeah.
Because is he with you all the time during like practice
Yeah.
rounds and everything? Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, they kind of like have to be your best friend. They got to know your whole game, right? They got to know the way you hit every shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good too. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
We'll get together and play sometime soon when we can.
Yeah, well, we need to. I will warn you, you're gonna kick my ass because I for sure have not been playing the amount of golf you have been playing. So
it's all relative. There's a lot of things you'll kick my ass at. We'll do a workout in your garage. Show me.
There we go.
Up.
Come
but
up here.
I'll be better for it.
There we go. I love it. I love it. I have a buddy who is a member at Medina, so maybe we can come up here and do a little workout and try to get on Medina or something.
I know a couple of my friends are members of Medina, so we can make that happen. I can't make it happen, but I can call somebody that can maybe make it happen.
And that's what we need. We need you to call somebody.
You just got to know somebody. You just got to know somebody.
That's what it comes down to.
Don't know me. Know somebody else, but
that's right. That's right.
We'll go play Medina.
For sure. It'll be fun, man. I'm totally down. Last question I ask everybody on here. Do you have any, at this point in your life, do you have any favorite books or favorite, podcasts, anything knowledge, mindset wise that you would like to share with everybody listening?
I haven't listened to many podcasts. Actually, I've really never listened to any podcasts. I should start because I'm super into like series and following something. And if I like it, I get hooked like Netflix. I've watched everything.
Okay.
But a couple of books I like. I just started listening to one with Mark. It's David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me.
Fuck, I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm a huge David Goggins fan. I'm shocked I haven't listened to it yet. But he narrates it, right?
Good.
Yeah.
He doesn't narrate. There's a guy that narrates it, but he comes in and explains things.
Oh, okay.
Like every 5 or 10 minutes, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, I've got several, mental performance books. There's I can't. I'm so bad on the spot. This is why.
No, it's fine.
Class is so hard for me, and tests are so hard for me.
Well, it's a funny question to ask you for you and me to talk about is our favorite books, because I figured you'd be like, yeah, I haven't touched a book since.
But there are just a lot of the if you Google a lot of self-help but mental books. I've read probably 3 or 4 of them. I've tried to start reading a book every month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for me it's
That's what I'm
kind of
trying
a
to
goal.
do.
No, I haven't done it yet. I'm trying to start.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all,
I've
just
started
trying
like
to
3
start's the
books. I
key.
haven't finished them yet, but like Inner Excellence is another good one.
Inner excellence. Okay. Love it. I'll
Jim
find them.
Murphy, a guy I work with a little bit on my mental side. So
Oh,
Inner
cool.
Excellence. I finally remembered it.
All right. Nice job. There you go. Well, I'll find it. I
Yeah,
can add it to the show notes. It'll be
good for me.
nice
I
job.
got a D, and I get to go on to Calc 2 now.
Love it.
Or
Nice job,
I'm done
Adam.
with Calc 2.
As long as you pass, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Yeah, man. And the only last thing I like to ask people, I don't know if you do a lot of this. Do you use any tools or what do you use to like track goals, like daily things for you with golf? Is there anything that you go to is like your like apps, notebooks, that type of stuff for, goal planning and mapping out what you're trying to accomplish?
I don't necessarily. What I use is the reminder thing on my phone, and I make a daily list of things I need to do, and that helps me stay on track. And then from there, I kind of just honestly like I believe in setting really small goals that way I can focus on them day to day, and I feel it out as I go. And like the night before, I'll make out a list of things I want to do the next day, and just I think it's really important to be self aware at all times because your plan changes. It changes in my golf game, in my profession, how I feel, what I'm doing well, what I need to really improve upon, what do I absolutely need to start and stop doing, and then I focus on that, and then I write down, all right, well, did this help today or did this hurt, and then I'll get a whole other set of feedback after I spend 5 or 6 hours practicing, and then I reprogram it, figure out basically what I'm doing well, how do I keep doing it well, what am I doing poorly, and how do I start doing it better, and then make a game plan for the next day and go on that. And then when I do that, when I combine lots of good days of note taking and reflection in a row, that's when I will start to see improvement. Maybe not immediately, but a month or 2 or 3 down the road. And that's kind of what prepares me to play good golf when my time comes.
I love that. No, that's fantastic. I definitely can resonate with that. What do you use like the notes app and the reminders app to do some of that?
In a
Nice.
notebook, I like writing it out. I think that's really helpful.
Okay.
And
Got
I'd
it.
use the dictation on my phone, and then I go back and read it, and I'm like,
What'd I say?
this is terrible. I didn't say that. Like grilled cheese, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, it's really bad until yeah, I like writing things out too. I'm a big fan of that. No, I love that. Well, cool, man. This has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time, Adam. It was great catching up with you and talking to you about your blossoming career on the tour, man. I'm pumped for you, rooting you on, and excited for you tomorrow at the TPC Boston big tournament tomorrow.
Thank
Kicking
you.
it off. What 1 o'clock in the? You got plenty of time. You can sleep in tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You're like 1:40 tea time. I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gonna have a nice early dinner. Come back, play some cards, have a few beers. Like I said, wind down. It's gonna be a good night. It's much better than having us. I was really hoping I was gonna have a late tea time and then be
Okay.
early on Friday. So
There you go.
I got my
Do you have
wish.
like the same tea time Thursday, Friday, and then they change it all when the cuts are made?
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Well,
you go.
you're either late one day and early the next day. It just depends on which day you get it.
Oh, you like switch on Friday?
Yeah, you're either gonna be early and you're either gonna be early one of the days and late the next day. So it's just
Got
depends
it.
on kind of which one you get first.
Got
But
it. Okay. That
thanks for
makes
having me
sense.
on.
Yeah.
We'll catch up even more when I come up to Chicago. My wife and I have been wanting to visit Chicago for a couple of years now, or a year, because she used to live up there, like I said.
Yeah.
So we'll look you up and go out to
Yeah. I
dinner
was gonna
and
say, let me know. We'll definitely plan something.
play
You guys
some
come to
golf.
the house. We can play some golf. We can do a bunch of stuff. We'd
Awesome.
love to have you guys. Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, good
I'm
luck with everything, buddy.
excited to meet your wife and Pete.
Yeah, same. Maybe you can bring the dog. We can have a dog hangout
Oh, it'll
between
be
Pete and
awesome.
Bunker.
If you don't mind dog hair.
No, not at all. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. Cool, buddy. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a blast, and I appreciate it, man. And good luck tomorrow. You're gonna kill
All
it. I
right.
know it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You take care.
Cool, buddy. Sounds
See ya.
good. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
See ya.